Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 340. Round numbers. I like round numbers. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Too Fresh Kresh. Kresh, how are you?
I'm doing good. You know, you haven't mixed that up in a minute. I was expecting it to be me because you haven't changed it.
I'm glad you noticed.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm really disappointed.
Are you though? Because maybe I've been forcing you into like a false sense of like, oh, he's gonna throw it to me. He's gonna throw it to me. So now next week, am I gonna throw it to you or am I not?
I can predict when you're gonna do it.
Do you think so?
I can guarantee you. Yes, you will not catch me off guard.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Interesting. And the one and only Mr. Matt P. Video. Matt, how are you?
I'm very well indeed, mate. Very well indeed.
So, guys, we've got some big news this week. There's actually a lot of news, not even taking the mick. There's a lot of news to talk about in Xbox world because of, obviously, PlayStation begging for forgiveness from the almighty Phill Spencer. I joke. But other big news outside of Xbox-related stuff is I released a song. Oh my God! If you haven't listened to it, go and check it out. It's called 9 to 5. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. It's on SoundCloud because apparently the kids use SoundCloud. I don't like the platform. It's weird to me. But yeah, I've been, as probably, if anyone's listened to this, My Xbox and Me, you know, been addicted to GTA Roleplay. My character in GTA Roleplay is a rapper, so I've actually put out a song, and it's actually pretty decent. Like, a lot of people like it. It's about streaming. It's like one verse, a couple of hooks. Go and check it out. It's called 9 to 5 by MC Fixer. Go and check it out. I would appreciate it. Even if you listen to it ironically to be like, ha, this is going to be crap, I think you will be pleasantly surprised. I generally do think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Don't call me MC Fixer for nothing, let me tell you. It's not Mick Fixer, as a lot of you Americans like to call me because you're very, very strange. Very, very strange. But back to Xbox stuff, and you boys, Kresh, how are you? What's new in life?
I'm doing good. What's new? I don't think there's anything new. Anything new really for me?
Okay. Oh, sorry, I won't ask next time. Matt, how are you? What have you been up to?
I've been playing.
Wait.
No.
We're not going by this. So because there's nothing new in my life, that was me being negative and attacking you, asking me the question because I said there's nothing new. You're like the grumpy old man that like your grumpy old dad that comes home from work and like every day you're like, Dad, how was work? And he goes, oh shit. I didn't even say my life.
That's you.
I didn't
that's
say
you.
Anything's been shared.
No, I know, but that's you.
I'm not an oversharer, so I don't like.
Wow, you're calling me out for being an oversharer now. Wow.
No, that's not.
This
now you're taking
podcast
stuff
off
out of context.
Matt P, how are you, sir? How you been?
I don't like it when mum and dad fight. I'm good. I'm really good. Been playing. I've probably played more games in this past like 2 weeks than I have since I can remember. I've been all over the place.
So you're saying last year you put in no effort and the Game of the Year list is all compromised?
I have played nothing in the past 2 weeks that would have impacted my Game of the Year list.
Too late. That's a lie.
I already drew a conclusion. You can't go back and change my opinion now.
Unfortunately, it's over. Yeah. It's over. Well, topic of the show this week is all about Phill Spencer. He's been talking, he's been tweeting, he's been doing it all. Yeah. Let me tell you, Mr. Phill Spencer, while speaking about obviously the acquisition words, bless you, Haley. Jesus Christ, this is meant to be a professional podcast, woman. The acquisition of Activision, talking about obviously the big topic, which is Call of Duty. Phil had this to say in a tweet, which is, quote, had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I can confirm our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry, and we value our relationship. End quote. Now, guys, the internet has been ablaze. The internet has been ablaze over this because it's weird because you've got it from all sides. You've got it from the industry point of view, you've got it from a PlayStation fan point of view, you've got it from an Xbox fan point of view, and then you've just got speculation coming out of the wazoo, if we're being totally honest.
Yeah.
The question I want to ask you both, and we'll start with Matt, is how do you interpret this statement? Words such as intent, honor existing agreements, value our relationship.
I think this is probably one of the most tediously crafted tweets maybe of all time. I wonder how many people had input on the exact wording of this tweet. I look, okay, let's go by one. Intent. I think people are reading probably too much into that. I think, they're gonna do it. They're gonna abide by the existing contracts. The interesting bit for me is, where does it say, Activision Blizzard and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, which to me feels like a kind of past tense way of saying that. Like, we're gonna keep the things that are Call of Duty on the PlayStation, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get the next load of Call of Duties beyond the agreements that have been made and signed currently.
Beyond.
And I think we kind of all thought that was going to be the case, right? We just didn't know how long those agreements had been agreed for or signed for until other things have come out. But we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, we got more information, but Kresh, same statement, same words out there. Big Phill Spencer coming with the tweets to shake the industry. What do you think?
Yeah. I think to actually get a good view on this tweet, you also have to remember that I think it was exactly the day before that Sony's stock went down 20 billion or something like that. It was. Yeah, so I think you have to look at this tweet because Sony and Microsoft and Phill Spencer specifically ended up making a very similar statement the next day, and I think that's also important to look at.
Okay, what was that statement? Do you know? Can you paraphrase it?
It was basically the same thing. It was basically the same thing here about Microsoft's intent. Like, we expect Microsoft to keep up their end of the deal
I do remember seeing this
Call of Duty multi-platform. Yeah. I think in a weird way, it doesn't. What happened to Sony, going down 20 billion, doesn't benefit Microsoft.
No, I agree.
What that does is it opens up Sony from being bought from somebody that Microsoft actually views as a competitor.
Google, Apple.
Yeah. So where people are downplaying the desire part, and I understand why, because we've seen something very similar with Bethesda, but Bethesda I feel like is very different from Call of Duty in particular, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something, Fix?
I think you've hit a nail on the head there, right? Because Phill has come out and said this before, which is Sony are not our competition. The statement is out there, and I'm paraphrasing it, but it was along the lines of Sony are not our competition. Google and Amazon are our competition. I think was the along the lines quote there, because I think from Xbox's point of view, they understand that for a healthy games industry, we do need companies like Nintendo and we do need companies like Sony, because without that, you just end up lying on your morals. We've seen both companies do. We've seen Xbox mess up a generation. We've seen Sony mess up a generation. We've seen Nintendo be Nintendo.
Mess up but not get punished for it.
Mess up and no one really cared. Let's be honest. We just rebought all those games on the Switch. That's what we did. So for me, it's so interesting. But what was more interesting about it was the conversations outside of what was said. It was watching IGN members of staff and watching GameSpot, whoever, it doesn't insert game company here, right? And seeing the visceral attacks they were getting when they were tweeting about certain things from our industry of peers and colleagues and fellow gamers. And it was like, wow, we've always known that Xbox were like the ugly stepson of the industry, but they really are, because Xbox buy exclusives. Everything is their monopoly. They're this, they're that. They're terrible for the industry. They're this, they're that. Sony buys companies. All good. But the conversation is, but they're buying big companies. And if Sony had the money to buy big companies, they would do the same thing. But they can't.
Yeah, but that's making that argument's a bad faith argument, to be fair. It's like if Sony were to do it, people
How dare
would do
you?
it differently. It's a bad faith argument because it's never been done.
Okay.
I get what you're saying, and I generally do. I agree with you. I just to be fair, making that argument's a bad faith argument because there's
when is something that was bought by Sony,
most
people celebrated it. Most people celebrated it. Xbox buys something, it doesn't get celebrated in the same way.
Insomniac isn't as big as Bethesda, and
No,
Insomniac is not
obviously.
as big as Activision.
But arguably they make better games.
That's fair, but I think comparing the two still isn't a fair comparison.
Because of
And
what? Because
expecting people
just
to
the
react the
amount of
same way.
IP, or
The amount of and the amount of like attachment people have to those. Like people are attached to Insomniac games, not the same way they are to Bethesda games, and not the same way they are to Activision games.
And I think the amount of money that's involved, like
that should be irrelevant though.
Should be, but kind of
But it's
sickens
not,
people a
because-
little bit.
It
Yeah.
should be though. It should be irrelevant. The amount of money should be irrelevant. Doesn't matter how much it costs. It matters. It matters what they're gonna do with these games and these
reach.
companies, right? But the conversation I'm trying to have mainly is just about how our industry looks at Microsoft mainly, which is like they get looked at as the bad guy at this point. I've been covering Xbox for at least 6 years, right? Nobody was saying nothing when we did. I saw. I want to give the credit to the person who makes them. I think it's Combry. Is it Combry on Twitter? Who does like he does all the the logos. He does all the logo images. 2017, Xbox had like 7 studios. Now Xbox have got I don't even remember how many it is. It's ridiculous. Like, and I remember covering Xbox through those days. No one was going, "Oh, Xbox have only got so many studios. They need to go buy somebody." Like. Now they're doing the thing that we've always wanted them to do from an Xbox player fan point of view, and you can play it wherever you want, really. PC, Xbox, you got XCloud, and they still can't just get celebrated. And I know that we had the conversation last week about monopolization and all that stuff, so I don't want to go over that again. But I just think it's super strange and super weird that the industry doesn't even celebrate it. Jeff Keighley doesn't even celebrate it.
Does it affect the industry? That was the question. I don't think it affects the industry, and I don't know why they should celebrate it.
Because they do it for the other side.
Industry,
because they do it on the other side is my argument. Because when Sony buys something, what? Go on.
Do they celebrate it? I don't think they celebrate it.
I think they do.
What do they celebrate?
It's usually like a congratulations, guys, well done. Oh, I'm so proud of you. This is going to benefit the game developers. That's how it comes from my Instagram and from my Twitter.
Activision. I've seen the same exact thing for Activision. So what you're saying is actually unfair, but I've seen it.
Okay.
I've seen people in the industry tweeting about it, like, oh, this is going to be, at worst, this is a net positive for the workers at Activision. This is a net positive for something like Call of Duty that's been kind of murky and going downhill. Like, I've seen those things. Just like, this is very important, and this is the bubble people put themselves in.
Yes, I agree.
And people actively, like, people who are Xbox fans actively going to Sony fans and seeing what they have to say about it. They're not going to have anything positive to say about it because they're Sony fans. And even if you're in the industry, you can be a Sony fan and have a personal opinion that's
100%.
separated from all this other stuff. And I think expecting everybody to share your viewpoint is also like, is toxic. I don't think it's as toxic as going and people who are like super aggressive and super down on this, like, oh, Xbox is horrible, monopolization and all this stuff. Like, Xbox still third biggest revenue in gaming. It's not ahead
They're
of
not
Sony
number
even
one
with this purchase.
They ain't number one.
Tencent and Sony are still ahead of them. So this, like, being a monopoly, like, that's just not the case. You know, this probably closes them from ever being able to buy something like Sony, because then for sure a monopoly,
That's a
right?
monopoly.
Not to say that they would ever buy Sony, right? But like, I think there is a sense of like, it's this really weird toxicity that comes from sort of this console war of like, when I'm doing good, I'm going to see what the other guy's saying. And if it's negative, I'm going to be very aggressive to them, and vice versa, because PlayStation fans do the same thing to Xbox fans. It's continually antagonistic. And one thing that this has brought up, that every time something like this happens, is like, stop being antagonistic, like mute people, block them, do whatever you have to do to get peace of mind, and just walk away and just follow the people you care about and whose opinions you value.
No. I want to watch the world burn on my Twitter timeline. I love it.
You.
I love no. Let's make things very clear from my point of view. I couldn't give a crap. I own everything. This is more just for a conversational piece. Me, I couldn't give a crap what company gets bought where, by who, with what money, by how much. Couldn't care. I'm going to own everything probably for the rest of my life. Hopefully, if I'm able to continue to do this job that I do. I should be okay to be able to play whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want, you know? Not everyone is in that privileged position in which I am. I understand that. So I understand where the hate comes from it. But it's just interesting. Matt, please come in on here. Like, what are you thinking? What are you listening to? Tell Kresh he's wrong.
Well, no, I kind of do agree with Kresh, unfortunately for you, Fix. No, I think what I've seen personally, and we are all in our own little bubbles in Twitter, right? Like, it just
absolutely.
happens. And I feel like what I have seen is a pretty balanced discussion about the whole thing. I think a lot of people are talking about the concept of monopolies because it's such a huge figure, and because that when they came out, they said this is not a done deal and has to go through the FTC.
Yeah,
And
but they did
the
that
only
with
reason
Bethesda. That happened with Bethesda as well.
Sure. But this is 10 times the amount they spent on Bethesda, right?
Wild.
Close to that.
Sorry,
Close to that.
I can't do maths. I got slated the other day, by the way. Just to quickly interject, apparently we got the numbers so wrong on certain things last week.
Did we?
Like I got slapped up. Let me tell you, I got slapped up. Sorry, carry on.
No, but we appreciate your input. Thank you very much, everybody, for telling us off.
That
was the most passive aggressive. We really appreciate
it. Really
your
wasn't.
input, everyone.
It really wasn't. It really wasn't supposed to be.
I don't think it was until Fix
people
mentioned now that Mythic said it. Like, that seemed pretty passive aggressive, man.
If I had the ability to ban people in the Discord, it would have been on. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I can't remember where I was now. But yeah, I think we're all slightly in our own little echo chambers on Twitter and stuff like that. But I really did feel like I saw pretty fair and balanced arguments on all sides. And like, there are people out there like us doing Xbox specific podcasts. People out there doing PlayStation specific podcasts.
We're trying to be number one, baby. Move.
Both of those, different sides are gonna attack the subject area from a different side, right? Like 100%. It's just gonna happen that way. I think it's fair to have those sort of balanced arguments. And I do feel like, for the most part, I saw a lot of balanced arguments. I can't think of anybody who I saw whose opinion was, this is terrible, this needs to stop. Like, I'm gonna go out there and protest.
You didn't look hard enough.
Maybe I didn't.
I don't think you should be looking for that stuff. Is the problem?
That's fair.
I think that's on you when you look for that.
No, I think you're forgetting that I'm trying to make content here, so I'm definitely.
I understand you're trying to.
I'm definitely looking. Like, there's not. You can't not, like, for what we do and to have the conversations that we try to have. You've got to look everywhere. That's my 100%. Job.
And those conversations are the conversations I enjoy most. If we could find somebody who is well established and hates the idea of it and wants to come on here and chat to us about it, I'm all for it. Like I would love to have that discussion. It's how many times on this do we say, "Oh, I've changed my mind," or "That's a really good point," or like we even between each other, right? We change each other's minds on stuff all the time, and I love that. That's the best part of it. So.
Never happened.
I disagree.
So to bring it full circle back to the actual quote, Call of Duty. We got another news story here from Bloomberg, which I hadn't read actually until Kresh just put it in the show notes. So, Activision's next 3 Call of Duty games will be on PlayStation and Xbox. So I'm not going to read the whole article. You can go check it out. It's written by Jason Schreier over on Bloomberg if you want to see it. But it opens up the question of, once these contracts are done, because what this says to me, and I think you've read the article, Kresh, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, so I'm just sort of shooting from the hip here. What this says to me is Call of Duty's marketing rights were probably still with PlayStation for the next 3 games. And that contract is probably up in 3 games, and they would have re-signed with PlayStation or Xbox, like they've done many years before. It used to be very Xbox heavy, then it went very PlayStation heavy. The time would be up, and we'd get to where we get to. I think after these next 3 Call of Duty games, I don't think Call of Duty is on Xbox after that. PlayStation, sorry, yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Because I could see it still being on PlayStation after that, because we've talked about it, and especially in light of like their Sony stock market going down. I think it really depends on what how Microsoft's viewing it, right?
Mm.
And Microsoft doesn't have to be generous. Microsoft doesn't have to like be like, you're still getting Call of Duty and we're going to try and help you out in that regard. Microsoft doesn't have to be, you know. We sat up here, me and Fix talked about the Bethesda purchase. We're like, yeah, those games, some of those games will still be multi-platform.
We were wrong.
We were
so wrong.
So I'm not like, I don't know how this will go, right? Because you have to remember, Microsoft's also very, very, very big, right? So they really could go about it anyway. I just think after the stock market, the stock price drop and everything, the two statements that come out, I think it's plausible that some sort of deal gets worked out between Xbox and PlayStation. Maybe not. I know everybody always looks to the Game Pass. That's going to be the requirement. I could see like, okay, you guys are going to continue paying whatever the marketing fee was. You guys aren't going to get marketing. Maybe throw in a little bit more on top of that and the games will still come to you guys. But we are getting something additional out of this other than just being on your platform. I could see something like that being the case.
Xbox were in the driving seat. Like, this isn't a conversation of like, PlayStation need Call of Duty. They need everything else. No one cares about. They need Call of Duty.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
So sorry
COD,
to cut you
FIFA,
off. I did
like we always talk about those ones, right? Like they're the ones they need.
But for me, I think you're right, Kresh. Which is like, the conversation is going to be, you are not getting marketing on this ever again.
Yeah, no,
like,
absolutely not. You might be paying that fee.
Oh, bro! Like, could you imagine that? Like, PlayStation, like Xbox, are like, yeah, you're going to be paying us this amount of money to even get Call of Duty on your platform. Yeah. Wild.
There are also other little ways that they can really turn the knife here, right? And I don't know if they will, but if this deal goes through before 2023's Call of Duty comes out, which
it won't.
because we were saying 2023 June. I think it's got to go through.
Oh, is that what it is?
Then.
June. Oh, okay.
I believe so.
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Okay,
so then the Call of Duty would be
chance.
October, November, and so that Call of Duty by that point would be heavily in development and would theoretically come out on PlayStation, sort of under Xbox. Could open with an Xbox splash screen on PlayStation if that all goes through that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that could get updated into it either way, even after it's released. They could just be like, we're putting Xbox Studios in the splash screen in an update.
If when you build Warzone, they could do that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Which would be really interesting, and whether or not they would do it, I don't know.
Do we
Minecraft Dungeons
does Deathloop have it? Minecraft Dungeons,
no,
that's not.
Deathloop doesn't. Deathloop doesn't.
Deathloop doesn't. Minecraft Dungeons, I'm pretty sure has a.
It's something.
Microsoft
I'm not saying it is that, but I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like
correctly.
You're thinking like boot up the game, Xbox baby,
Xbox,
and then
just have
into Call of Duty
there to where you can go buy an Xbox.
Yes. Yeah, free on Game Pass. It says in a little thing under there as well. But what I was also going to say is I wonder if this is the next. How is it worded in the contract? Is it the next 3 Call of Duty games? Is it the Call of Duty franchise up until a date? Because if it's the next 3 Call of Duty games, that could be interpreted in a few different ways, right? Like you could do a significant update to Warzone. Does that count as a Call of Duty game?
Count.
Like,
no.
I agree, but if you have the lawyers that Microsoft have, maybe they would be able to justify that not being the case.
They'd have to argue that the same product is a different product, and I feel like that would be hard to argue in court. And even then, it would be like, if Microsoft doesn't have to honor this, they would just be paying a fine, I believe, is how that works, right? You pay a fine for dishonoring the contract.
Legally, I don't think they have to,
Yeah, I just don't know how that would look for Microsoft, because you have to remember, Microsoft's a big company that deals in a lot of different businesses. How do other businesses look when you renege on a contract, right? 100%. I think that's something Microsoft also has to look at, because we're viewing it from like a game scope of like, well, Microsoft just has to deal, like Microsoft can do, Xbox can do whatever, like Microsoft's bigger than that. You don't know how that'll affect their maybe other contracts they have with other companies where they're trying to combine software with something else. Like, you don't know how that'll affect those relationships. I think that is something that we're completely like out of the loop with, and we can't really comment on that, right?
Yeah, and this is wild speculation. I don't think they would necessarily do it either, right? But it would be interesting to see if something like that could happen, right? Especially the splash screen thing, like you say. I think that could definitely happen.
So it's looking like it's going to be like 2023 that like all the Call of Duties will be out by.
Yeah.
From what I'm reading, if I'm reading it correctly, which again, reading not my strong point, let's be totally honest with you. That's this year's COD. a free-to-play version of COD, like another free-to-play version of COD, and then there would be the 2022 version of COD. So it's kind of like what Matt's saying, which is like it's probably like a Warzone again, but like just a different Warzone that are like, oh, it's called Warzone 2. Here you go. That's a new game, which part of the agreement.
Yeah.
It could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. which is crazy. But I think from my point of view, I think Xbox have played this perfectly. They've definitely left the conversation open enough for people to have this conversation, which I think they want
them so much.
Yeah. Every podcast in the world covering it when it comes to gaming, every tweet about all of this, like all of this, none of this really looks negative on Microsoft because it sounds, in Phil's tweet, it sounds like they're being the good guys.
Yeah. And if you read, I don't know if you've read the article that Sony had. You said you didn't. They sound very like
they're salty.
Defensive on it. Yeah, they sound very defensive on it. Like, we've talked to Microsoft and the games will be coming. The contracts will be held and Call of Duty will stay multi-platform or whatever it is. They sounded very, very like slightly agitated and defensive. Which, to be fair, their stock went down 20 billion. I'd be a little bit agitated if that happened.
Sure.
Now's the time to buy in, though. I'm not allowed to, but the rest of you buy into Sony stock because it's going back up. I promise you.
Oh, it's going to. Yeah, that's.
If you can afford it, this is not financial advice.
Not financial advice.
But if you can afford it, buy some Sony stock. Buy some Sony stock.
There has to be people out there, though, who would have bought a PS5, have not been able to because it's been very difficult to buy a PS5, and are now surely if they're in the game industry enough to know what's going on here, surely have to be rethinking that decision.
I don't know.
I don't think so. Not as of right now, because it's still another 2 years realistically before Call of Duty goes exclusive.
But how long are we in this generation for? How long does that PS5 last? I don't know.
I think this generation is going to be longer than the Xbox
PS4.
One. No, we're an Xbox podcast, Matt, so I'll talk Xbox. Thank you very much, sir. Jesus, PS4.
Wow.
The Xbox One life cycle, only because I feel like people are still struggling to get hold of these consoles.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to, like, the first year of these consoles being out didn't even count. Even now, people are still struggling to get them. So this will be out. This is our second year with the new consoles, right? It's like,
and they're still a hot commodity,
and they're still sold out. I think it does do is Xbox are in pole position for the secondary console now. Like, people are gonna go, well, they're gonna have all these games on Game Pass. I should probably just get an S, which is not the right thing to do. But they are gonna now. People are like, it's only $200. Like, I can't get a PS5. Don't really need a Series X, so might as well.
I was gonna disagree with you, but like, if you look at the games that Microsoft's getting, one of them supposed to be Warzone 2. No, one of them is supposed to be Warzone 2, and we know how big Warzone is.
I was gonna say,
if you're planning on playing Warzone, it'll take up most of your hard drive space. Maybe that's why they're like doing another Warzone. Is they're like, we can make it smaller, more compact, and people can just stop complaining about the size. That's not gonna happen. I don't think so.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Anything else to add on this? Like, are we surprised in what's being said? Are we what are we looking like?
No,
what are we looking like here? Like,
no, I think the only thing we didn't really consider, and I think people haven't really been talking about, is the whole who Xbox views as their competition. And Phill Spencer came out and said it's not PlayStation. I think that changes the conversation of whether Call of Duty ends up on PlayStation a little bit. Ultimately, the ball is still in Xbox's courts. Yeah, ultimately the ball is still in Xbox's court, and no matter whether it ends or not, Call of Duty walks away, I assume, with a deal where they're getting paid on top of the sales. They wouldn't do it otherwise. Either that or Game Pass, and I don't think Game Pass would realistically happen.
I think what's funny about this is if you're Xbox, you do this on a year-to-year basis, right? It's a game-to-game basis. They can pull it away. Imagine someone being sat at your dinner table and they have the ability to pull your dinner away from you at any time they want. And you can't do nothing about it. Could you imagine you sat there tucking into some sausage and mash, or some chicken shop, or a kebab, or Kresh, what do New Yorkers eat? What they like? Bagels, pizza. Thank you. You've got the best slice of pizza, Kresh, from that place that you love.
Puts pineapples on it.
No, not even. They don't even put pineapple. You wish.
They just take it away?
Wish they put pineapple on it. Because instead, do you know what they
put
did?
Some dominoes in front of you.
Do you know what they did instead, Kresh? They pulled the slice away, bro. They were like, absolutely not. You're doing too well.
That's good.
And we're going to take the biggest thing. We just got to take it away.
Got you.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. It also like puts Sony in a position like they can't do the same thing they did when they were like, you want to borrow your friend's game, how to share games, and they do that. Like they can't do that anymore. They don't know. I
feel like we've moved beyond that now. Anyway.
Yeah. I agree.
But it's just like it's those little things that play in my mind where I'm like, Xbox are not dumb, and they're not, and Sony have no. So I'm so used to Sony being able to dictate something one way or another, when now in this argument, in this conversation, they can't, and that to me is what makes this even crazier of a conversation. To be honest with you.
How legit do you think it is when they say Sony aren't our competition? That we don't consider them?
Legit.
I think, yeah, because you have to remember, like, what Sony's more of a hardware company and Microsoft's more of a software company. And I think when you look at it, that you view Microsoft with the cloud service, with Game Pass and all that stuff. Sony isn't really competing in software. Yeah, they are in games, right? That's a completely different conversation, right?
100%.
Games sell hardware right now. Games don't really sell, and Sony doesn't have their Game Pass equivalent. Like PlayStation Now isn't really it. They're doing whatever they're doing. Rumors for that are all over the place, so nobody really knows where that'll go. And even when that becomes a thing, if they don't have a cloud streaming service, that doesn't help them. Remember, like if Google or Stadia or Luna were to buy PlayStation, that would be huge for them because that all automatically validates a streaming platform. Stadia all automatically goes from the graveyard to being relevant again because now they have actual games, and it's not just any games; it's games that people
first
love.
buy. Yeah.
No, I agree. That's that's a whole nuanced conversation that I think does get overlooked a lot with this, right?
And don't forget, the metaverse is coming.
It's true. Also, like it's interesting, right? Like Xbox, Microsoft.
I just want to vent about the metaverse. I just want to vent right now.
No, Matt, go.
Go for it, Kresh.
No, come on, Matt. Come on.
My point was actually really boring. But I was going to say, like, Microsoft already made this huge shift to subscription cloud-based with their like Office package.
Yes.
Like they stopped selling Office and they moved that to a subscription service and saw the benefits of that, and have so just got such a ridiculous head start on this sort of stuff. I think they are such a big company, right?
Xbox have always been ahead of the curve, and unfortunately, if you've watched the Xbox documentary, you'll know sometimes to their detriment.
Yeah.
The fact that they put Ethernet ports in every console back in the original Xbox days, and people are like, why on earth are you doing that? They knew what they were trying to do. I think it's been exactly the same thing with Game Pass. The way back in the day, we looked at Game Pass like, oh my God, Netflix Game Pass. They knew what they were doing. They didn't know how they were going to get there. They didn't know that they were going to get Bethesda. They didn't know they were going to get Activision. But they knew what they were trying to do in terms of building this catalog of games where people can come and blah, 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 blah. And I don't think we're even 50% through. That's the thing that scares / worries me. The question was, do we actually believe Phill, aka Xbox, when they say PlayStation's not their competitor? Yes, I do, because at the end of the day, if they were really competitors, you wouldn't play ball with them. Yeah. You wouldn't.
You'd break these contracts.
You wouldn't play ball with them. It makes no sense to play ball with someone you feel threatened by. You know? You just don't. You stay away from the people you feel threatened by. And by doing this, I think it shows that, like, look behind you, Matt. I used to dish you about your posters. No, seriously. Look the other way. Xbox own that now.
It's an Xbox boy now. He's an Xbox boy now.
Bro, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
It
is, man.
We're not talking about the same things we was once upon a time. And I think Xbox have always known that they're not in the console market. They sell consoles, but they're not in the console market. They were ahead of the curve when it comes to bringing games to PC. I sat on this podcast and called them crazy. Now look at me. All I play is on PC for their games. Like, they were ahead of the curve when it comes to Game Pass. I don't know if I would say they're ahead of the curve when it comes to not smart glass, Jesus. xCloud, because I don't use it on a consistent base enough because it's not stable enough yet. But there's not much out there that competes with it, right? They got Stadia, but that died. So are they ahead of the curve? I don't know.
I would say they are just because they have the library. They have it from Game Pass. I'd say they are ahead of the curve because what stops Stadia? It's the lack of library.
It's the lack of having to buy games. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not even having to get games. There's not many unique experiences that are worthwhile on the platform. Because it'd be different if Stadia had their own exclusives. Like if Stadia had a God of War or Halo Infinite, right?
They got rid of that instantly.
Yeah, like imagine how different that conversation would be. Like Stadia would be a lot more relevant because more people would be buying into Stadia. The question for me is like, why would I don't know if Stadia is going to last because they don't have anything coming out that's relevant, right? Yeah. Imagine if Google bought Activision. This conversation would be so different. It'd be like, oh, well now Microsoft has a real competitor to xCloud with Google, with Stadia, or even if Amazon bought it and it was Luna, right? And you have to remember,
Google not buy Activision.
There was an article that came out that what's it called? Bobby Kotick was trying to sell to Google and Amazon as well, I believe. Like he was trying to shop it out.
Microsoft was just like, bam, no way.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
that would have been wild. I mean, if that had that could have killed Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like because I can't see people would have gone over to Stadia.
They're not game companies. You have to remember, like, how long did it take Microsoft to fully understand like what it means to be a game company?
Yeah.
Like in the Xbox One era, they had no clue what they were doing. They were like, we're gonna sell this box, TV,
Xbox original, right?
Entertainment.
Oh, no, Xbox One. Got you.
Yeah, no, not the original. The original, I think the original was a lot more successful than the Xbox One, right?
Yeah, initially, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so it's like Google realistically has to go through so many motions before they fully understand what gaming is, or they have to hire the right people. And they hired the guy from EA, whatever his name is, like not the right move at all to hire someone to lead it, because he was the guy in charge for Xbox One as well, right?
No, you're on about.
If I'm not mistaken.
He went to Zynga. You're on about Don Matrix. He didn't go to
Matrix.
You're on about Don Matrix. He went to Zynga.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I went to there. No, I know who you're thinking of, but no, I think you are right. But you're not thinking of the same guy.
I'm not. I don't think so. But
you are thinking of an Xbox guy. Yeah, I think you're right. I do think
he went there, then he went EA, and then he went to.
I think you're thinking of Peter Molyneux, and he went to Liverpool. He went to Liverpool.
No, not Peter Molyneux. No, not Peter Molyneux.
Okay, I don't know who you're talking about, but I think you're right. I do think you're right.
I could be absolutely wrong, but I believe this is a person.
You sound right.
I believe it's a person. I believe
the Discord's coming for us this week. Damn it!
Yeah.
We were doing so well. We were doing so well. Nah, it's fine. It's fine. We like the engagement. But yeah, I think to put a bow on it, I don't trust what Xbox is saying. They're playing the nice guy, and I love it.
It's irrelevant as of right now. Anything that comes out until Xbox has them, until we see the game afterwards, it's irrelevant. It's all speculation.
Until 2023, it don't even matter.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
but you know one thing I can say, Kresh. This podcast will still be here in 2023, so we'll find that, baby. We'll find that.
We will.
I can't confirm that those two will still be here in 2023, but I'll be here.
Fix is replacing.
I'll be here. Well, you might quit like the rest of them. You know, you never know.
What's this DM I just got fixed? Why are you saying that I'm fired after this show? That's crazy.
That's like stupid with that Google Stadia comic. God damn it, get out of here. Let's give a shout out to our Patreon producers this week. Shout out to the one and only Aaron God. Shout out, my dude. Thank you very much for supporting us in the year of 2022. And of course, FNH Paul. Go check out his Twitch channel, man. He wants your support. He's on TikTok as well. I see him the way he's moving. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for the support. Let's get into Fix This Sack, guys. Let's answer some goddamn questions real quick. Remember, you can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com. This one's from Sarah Squid 69, who says, real answers only. What guest character do you see in the next Killer Instinct? I could see the main character from Prototype 1 or 2 fighting Saberwolf, or a Diablo character taking on Kresh. What's this guy's name? Right here, Kresh, right here.
Taking on Galactus.
Galactus,
Galactus.
or
Galactus.
even
Glacius.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or
I shouldn't have jumped
even
in.
no, you're fine. Or even Tony Hawk could. Oh, sorry. Or even Tony Hawk, who could easily take on Flurglaw in a 1v1. Who do you want to see join the fight?
It's interesting here that Sarah says with real answers only, and then throws Tony Hawk into a Killer Instinct. I respect it.
Sarah's not been around when you've been. Sarah writes in these weird emails. Like, you've not been around long enough, Matt. Like,
Sarah
she might not have been writing in
weird emails.
She does, though, don't she?
Nah, they're all.
I think
Sarah, you're not weird. The
I didn't say
she's gonna kill you for saying that. She's literally gonna find you and beat you up. I don't know why you're talking out.
I should shut up. You're right.
Like this.
Yeah, I should shut up. She will kill me.
I think Sarah has the best input on Discord.
Oh, I
actually really enjoy her input in everything like she interacts with. I think it's very, very well spoken.
Yeah. Oh,
a very interesting.
If I could read, I'd sit there and actually reply. But reading so hard. Sorry, Sarah. I would.
That's fair.
I think your name's Sarah. I think.
Can I say something?
No,
I feel
it's a podcast. Don't speak.
Was I supposed to speak? When conversations are going on in Discord, it feels kind of weird to interject myself in conversations on the Discord.
100%.
So I don't do it, even if I have an input I'd like to put in.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't, because
it
feels weird. Yeah, that's exactly. It's not for
the conversation is around the podcast, and to then interpret what it is that we're saying and to have a conversation about it. I stay out of it. I stay well out of it.
If we start inputting, I feel
What's
like we
the point in the podcast
adjust it
if we
from
do
being
that?
the fan, from it being fan opinions to being like a mix of our own opinion in it as well, which I don't think is necessarily fair.
That's fair.
But I will say one thing. Stop writing answers to the questions in the My Xbox and Me questions part. That's what I will say. The questions are for us. They're not for you to reply to, okay?
You can do it in the other topic. It makes it very confusing when I'm going through to add conversations, because I usually try looking for question marks, but sometimes people ask rhetorical questions and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. How am I supposed to find these questions now?
If I see one more time, what's your Desert Island game? And there's someone else going, oh, I'd play. Shut up. No one cares about your Desert Island game. Get out of here. God damn it. I'm talking about you. What's the damn Redactive Dragon, I think it is, in there this week. I was like, bro, I'm gonna I swear
it wasn't just him. There was a group of people this week.
I know.
A lot of people.
Well, there was big news. People are excited to talk about it.
It's fair, but
put it in the right part, okay?
The tab's right above it. It's literally the one above the My Xbox and Me talk instead of My Xbox and Me questions. One of them ends with question marks. The other one ends with periods. Is all I'm saying. Like,
some
where to put it.
Some podcasts would just be happy they have people talking about their podcasts. Us, on the other hand, hell no. Put your conversation in the right place. I don't have it at all, okay? Serious answers, though. Who do we have? I would suspect, realistically, probably Kresh. I think you could probably give Kresh some sort of fight. Kresh tells me no.
I don't like Kresh for it. I could see who's the big tiny guy. Who's tiny? His name's Tiny, right?
Tiny, Tiny.
I could see him being in it actually, and I think he would fit more so in it. But the problem with him would be he's very Saberwolf like. I could see them doing is actually giving Saberwolf a Crash Bandicoot outfit over him. So the Crash Bandicoot
he is the Crash Bandicoot mascot. Oh yeah,
yes. I think that would be an amazing skin if they were to do that, because I think that is something that they could also go into for more of a microtransaction type of purpose or whatever. Or just Game Pass, you get a benefit if you have Game Pass or whatever. Is you get skins for these certain characters. I think that could be a cool thing, because I don't see Crash as a character fitting in with Killer Instinct, but something like that, adding the skin over it.
What about one of these
the prototype
Overwatch
character?
people?
I think is great. Overwatch, I think a lot of characters could work. I think a Roadhog, a Genji. I think most of the Overwatch characters could actually work to some degree. For the most part. For me, it's like it's all I think about it. I think I hear this question. I think about
Sorry.
what characters would be mechanically the most interesting. Yeah.
All I heard was, "It's all I think about." I'm like, yeah, that adds up. That adds up, Kresh. That adds up.
Killer Instinct, dude. What can I say? Yeah, it's like what characters would come with the most interesting mechanics, and I think the prototype character actually would have a lot of really cool mechanics attached to him.
That's true.
I think Roadhog with the grapple hook could have a lot of really cool mechanics.
That's cool.
But there's a Street Fighter 5 character that's kind of similar to what Roadhog would do. Also looks Birdo, I think is his name. Is it Birdo? Or no, that's a Mario character, isn't it?
It is as well. I'm not discounting the idea that there's two.
Street Fighter 5. I haven't played Street Fighter 5 in forever. I forget the character's name. World of Warcraft. I think there's a whole bunch of characters that could be really cool, interesting. Overwatch again. I think a lot of that roster would work. I think the hard part is like, how would they function in the game and would they be unique enough? Because there's character like Hanzo would be cool, but Killer Instinct also already has Eagle, and how would Hanzo be different enough from Eagle, a character who uses a bow and arrow as well, right? And would the characters they add be unique enough as well? I think for me, it's a very, very nuanced question.
100%. I like Sarah's suggestion of having Tony Hawk in here.
Okay.
But I don't think Tony Hawk is evil enough for a Killer Instinct game. You need a bit more edge.
They're not all evil.
I know they're not all evil, but
Jago's
like Tony Hawk is
Why
very.
Are you trying to come for my dude Jago like that?
You need to get Eric from Tony Hawk Underground 1, who is a bastard of a man. So get him in there.
Characters, please.
Okay.
A Tony Hawk stage would be cool with like people doing tricks in the background like that. Go
doing
for
what?
that.
Doing what,
don't add a Tony Hawk.
What they doing?
Doing tricks. You know the ramp where they're going on the ramp.
If you're not watching the video version, please come and have a look at Kresh just waving his finger around like doing tricks. Okay. No, we spent plenty of time on this, Kresh. I humored you enough. On to the next question. I'm sorry.
Wow.
What? You got a serious answer?
Sorry, Sarah.
He gave so many serious answers.
Next question. Mr. Mitchell.
Actually,
just let it go. Just let it go. Don't do a Matt Page. Just let it go. Mr. Mitchell says, given Phill Spencer's comments to the Washington Post about the other tech giants coming into gaming, is there a chance that someone like Google, Facebook, or Amazon make a splash by purchasing Sony or PlayStation? I don't know why you say Sony or PlayStation. There's no way Sony would sell PlayStation if it's the only profitable market they have.
Yeah.
TVs make money.
No. That's not what I said. I said profit.
And I said make money.
I don't think you're. I think we're technically, a lot of companies make money. They still go bankrupt. You know that, right?
All right, fair. I think their TVs are profitable.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Some people
go
bankrupt just to go bankrupt.
I'm pretty sure I know that off of.
No, you're right about this. At least it was the case. I don't know how it is
back in the
now,
day. I mean, a couple of years ago,
it is their biggest money earner. It is for sure their biggest money earner. And usually, what companies do is they sell off the parts that are less profitable.
Yeah, they don't sell the thing. They don't sell the thing that has the most market share. No way. Yeah. I just don't see it. If I'm honest, when it comes to Google or Amazon, I mean, Facebook would be Meta. We can't even call them Facebook anymore. You've got to call them Meta. Well, it's not. It's Meta. It is
the
Meta.
app is still Facebook, but
no,
Facebook
the app
would
is
buy
Meta,
Sony.
But yeah, the Meta would
buy Sony.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Doesn't sound right.
I don't care if you like it or not. That's facts, okay?
Facebook's Meta's an interesting one to buy out Sony.
It would. I wonder with Meta if it would technically put them into a monopoly for the VR division.
You still got HTC.
I mean, you still got HTC
doing things.
Yeah, you still got. Who else? There's someone else, right?
There's a lot of smaller ones, but as far as like the biggest mind share, it is Oculus and PlayStation VR. And to be fair, they could just sell the PSVR division
I don't think anyone really cares enough. It's not that much of a market.
Yeah,
it probably makes up such a small
I
portion of the
understand.
market that they're probably like, yes, fine.
Yeah,
But I think that's why
the
it would
only
be
thing
interesting.
I could think about it.
I mean, I know I'm a nerd for this sort of thing, but I just think about PlayStation Home and Meta coming together and the metaverse and all that. I know. I'm a nerd. I know.
I'm not thinking you're a nerd. I think you're falling into this capitalistic BS fix of this metaverse that they want you to buy stuff and they want you to spend real money for digital items so they don't actually have to produce anything.
Kresh, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm quite a lonely individual, but I also don't want to leave the house. And if this lets me in, do you not understand why I play GTA roleplay?
You have GTA. That's what I'm saying. You have GTA roleplaying. You don't.
Yeah, but
need
it's not the
this other
same.
stuff.
It's not a headset. Give me GTA roleplay. Get me in there. You know.
I think you overestimate how that experience would go in VR. I don't think it would be as deep as if you want that experience. They have it right now. Play VR chat. That is about as good as it'll get. I don't think it'll get much better than that.
It is. I've seen Ready Player One. It's gonna get better.
It'll never be Ready Player. It's impossible for it to ever be Ready Player One.
Ever. Yeah, you're gonna be alive forever. Ever. Yeah.
I will be alive forever, and it'll never happen.
Never say never.
I respectfully disagree. My knees won't let me do it, but I'll be able to do it. Yeah. Have you seen how much they run around in that machine on Ready Player One? There's no way I could run that long. I'd be dead in a matter of seconds. Be crazy. It's just be a bunch of jacked up dudes run. Yeah, I'm getting way too in this. No, it's long and short answer. I just don't see it. No. I mean, unless it's a hostile takeover, I don't see Sony wanting to sell. Period. Point blank. Yeah. Because that is admitting defeat to the conversation of Microsoft, Xbox do not see Sony as competition isn't the same conversation of Sony do not see Xbox as competition. They are two different conversations.
I think the more important one is Sony and Nintendo, and Sony wouldn't want to lose to Nintendo in that regard.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
They have a lot of bad blood, but it's also like Sony's also a Japanese company, and those are all I believe they're all American companies, if I'm not mistaken.
Meta is, so is Google, and so is...
I believe Amazon is as well.
Yeah, Amazon? Yeah, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
I mean, I think their headquarters is actually in Ireland, but...
Well, that's taxes.
That's taxes. That's a whole other conversation.
That's not.
That's taxes and to avoid certain laws with certain that's a whole other conversation.
That's for my business and me, and we're not that yet. Okay,
yeah, that's the next podcast, guys. Just wait. We gotta go get a business degree, and we'll start that one up.
Then we'd be open for litigation all the time because we're wrong too much. Do you guys have different opinions? Do you actually think that one of these biggies would?
I think Sony would have to keep going on the decline, or have another decline that's a little bit worse than the one they had.
Keep going on the decline.
No,
they've got some of the best exclusives in the world.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 20 billion.
Their stocks. Sorry,
stocks. Yeah. Not the company as a whole, right? The stocks, because I think even if the games they produced were to be going down, but they were making the same amount of revenue in general and profit, I think they'd be fine, right? If the stocks take another big hit like that, because you have to remember board members are also important in conversations of being bought and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's the question of if they take another big hit like this, will the board members be like, oh well, Google just approached and they had this much on the table. We'll make a lot of money off that, and we have risk of losing money here. I think that's where it changes. But if something like that doesn't happen,
is Tencent Chinese?
Yes.
They're Chinese, not Japanese, right?
I don't think Tencent would be able to buy them. I think that would be monopoly, because it would be the highest revenue buying the second highest revenue gaming company.
Let's just say hypothetically they could. So I think you've got more chance of that than any of these other companies buying them, personally. But I never thought Xbox would buy Bethesda and Activision. So what the hell do I know?
It's true. And all these companies do have fuck you money, right? Just money to throw at the wall, this sort of thing. And so of those three, I would say Google, but for no other reason particularly.
No,
but
they have money.
Yeah, but they all do. So
fair enough.
I don't think it'll happen.
Fair enough. Next one comes from a long-time listener. I haven't heard from him in a while, but thank you for coming back. Reese the Renegade, who says, "Hi all, I've got a few questions for you guys. Use whichever question you want fixed." I'm going to read them all because why the hell not? Unless they're dumb, then I'm going to call you dumb and tell you never to return to this podcast ever again. I will. Firstly, do you feel Microsoft bought Bethesda to test the response response it would get from the wider gaming community before going after companies like Activision? No. I think
I don't think they care about what the wider gaming community thinks, to be honest.
Agree. I think they saw a conversation happened between a bunch of friends who happen to work at the biggest companies in the world, being probably Phill Spencer and Satya Nadella, and then we're looking at people at Bethesda such as Pete Hines and Todd Howard, and the conversation they were probably having a couple of beers or they were in a meeting, and it was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be fun if we bought you?" And then that's where it came from. I generally believe we'll hear about this in an interview one day, 20 years from now, where it was like, yeah, we were all at Phill Spencer's house having Christmas turkey or some nonsense like that, and it was a joke, and then it wasn't a joke, and it happened. And you've got to remember, a lot of people got stinking rich from all of this. So, no, I don't think this was to test the waters. I think it was just a case of right time, right place, and I think it's the exact same thing with Activision. Activision would not have been selling if they wasn't in a increasingly crazy decline, if they didn't have all of this horrible, horrible, horrible stuff happening at their company. You would not be selling Activision, going around shipping their company around to the biggest companies in the world. It wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, you also have to remember that a story came out that Bobby Kotick tried buying Kotaku to change the narrative of what was happening at Activision as well, which is a wild.
That's the first time I've heard that. That is wild.
Yeah.
So
wait, what?
Well.
Yeah. Bobby Kotick tried buying Kotaku. At least that's the story. I don't know.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, that's the story.
Allegedly.
Cover this podcast.
I don't know.
God damn it.
How
accurate it is, but
it's the ad lib from Matt there, which was thanks legal team.
We're gonna get done one day, mate. We'll all end up in jail. It's hard to podcast from jail, I hear.
Used to be fine. It'd be me that's like, gotta go for this meeting. Like,
it's his company.
Madness, absolutely.
We'll try and buy Kotaku to get you out.
Thank you.
That was fantastic. That was so good.
I think something that Kresh said in there as well about them not caring what the wider gaming community thinks or feels like. Like, Microsoft is such a big entity. Xbox is a part of it, and a relatively big part of it. But like, I don't ultimately think they care what the headlines were out of this. They're probably very happy that the headlines have been what they have been for the past 3 weeks, and they've been in the news like they have been for the past 2-3 weeks, whatever it's been. But I don't think they cared either way what we said about it.
We being the collective we, I assume.
Well, and specifically us.
I feel Spencer cares about what we talk about every week.
Yeah, every week.
One day, okay. I mean, he does listen to Podcasts Unlocked, and I was on that, so technically he has heard me speak about Resident Evil Village. I'm just saying.
Maybe he was
He's
busy
heard. He has what? He's scared that week. He knew. He was like, "Fixes on. I'm out. No, thank you." Next question from Reese, which says, "I know it's a weird question, but if there was a significant blowback when they brought Bethesda, then they could have put the brakes on snapping up the bigger companies." Okay. Secondly, is this the end of World War II Call of Duty games? Probably not. No, probably not, if I'm being honest.
I think even after Microsoft owns Activision, I think it'll be like whatever that development team wants to do, if they can pitch it right. I don't think Microsoft's going to be like, you can't do World War II anymore. I think it'll be like, can you sell it to us? Can you like pitch us the idea? Cool, go for it.
World War II games will never cease until World War III, which, hey, might happen sooner rather than later, but the sounds of it, bloody hell. But
who knows?
Even then, it'll never finish.
No, probably not. Thirdly, is the landscape now wide open for Microsoft to go after EA or Ubisoft? We already spoke about this last week.
Yes.
It's open, but I don't think it will happen, if I'm being totally honest. And lastly, you mentioned that the need for Microsoft to have a sports arm in regards of a game development. Perhaps they go after 2K. That's all my questions. I'm way behind on catching up with the podcast, so I'll probably hear this in August. Love you guys and keep up with the great work. The last question
doesn't even know who I am, right? In this.
No, probably not.
There's no idea.
No, I think 2K's too big. I know that sounds stupid, but GTA is GTA.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's one of those cases of like they don't need to be bought, and they're not looking to be bought.
Yeah,
because they're doing so well. Like you have to remember, like the board members have to be convinced to like sell a lot of times. And it's like, do the board members want to sell here? And probably not. They're probably making a ton of money. They're probably comfortable with the way things are right now.
There's no need to say probably. It's GTA.
I'm not trying to be liable out here, Fix.
Okay. I understand.
I don't know what
the legal
team.
The legal team respect that. Thank you. No, like seriously, I think like you got to look at the games that 2K put out. It's NBA, which is in MPD every single week when it comes out. The microtransactions on that game. By the way, I'm sponsored by 2K. I play NBA and paid by them. The microtransactions on that game are absolutely egregious and disgusting in some regards. In some regards, like the way that game is just set up is crazy to me. It's crazy that we let them get away with it. The fact there hasn't been more backlash on the games like that is nuts to me. But yeah, it's an interesting one, right? It's an interesting one where, like, you know, when you keep making great games, 2K make great games. We're very hopeful, fingers crossed, the WWE game is now going to be good this year. NBA 2K22 is probably the best basketball game ever made, in my opinion. Like, it's so weird, and it's you've got things like Borderlands, you've got... These also, are big IP, and no, they're not as big as Call of Duty, but they've got GTA, and as long as they got GTA and there's a GTA in the works, 2K are not getting bought by nobody.
Yeah.
Go on, what were you going to say? They have
also
what?
Just... I forgot what I was going to say in that regard, but I did have another point. 2K doesn't have that many sports franchises, do they? Other than basketball, and that's a big one. Well,
they've now got all the arcade sports titles, and there is rumors that they could be getting the FIFA license as well.
Okay, all right.
So because they've got like Madden Big and NBA Street 2, like they've got all of that now. So they've got like arcadey sports titles, which I think would play well with Game Pass, if I'm being honest. Yeah, but that doesn't stop this from coming to Game Pass, obviously. But yeah, no, I don't think that would ever happen. I have to be honest with you.
There is a question that I forgot to add. I think we kind of talked about it. You want me to read it and see if we're going to talk about it? It's from Top Left. For this week's podcast, going back to the Activision Blizzard acquisition, what IPs do you guys want to see brought back, and what studios would you like to make them? I, for one, would love Raven Software to make a new X-Men Legends game or even a new Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah, we've spoken about this.
Give me a new Tony Hawk Underground.
No, you don't want that. It's the same. I want Need for Speed Underground. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to happen. You know?
I mean, you're right, because Tony Hawk Underground 2 was not the same and was crap. But you can do it. I believe in you.
Man can wish.
Let him hope. Let's jump into what's been in our box. I'll kick off. I've been playing more Rainbow Six Extraction.
Have you?
I have indeed. I did a sponsor stream for Insert Coin, and they were like, "What do you want to play?" And I was like, "Rainbow Six Extraction, single player. Let me sit down and play that for 3 hours." Man, what a game! I really like that game. Like, I really like it. Like, it was fun playing it with you guys. I think I enjoyed it more on my own.
It's fun on your own because it allows you to be more methodical with everything you do. It's also easier on your own, and there's less.
Miles easier. Miles
it's
easier,
a lot less cluttered. So it lets you be more like thoughtful on how you're gonna do this, and stuff's not gonna go left. Like you're not gonna randomly run into a room full of sludge and a bunch of enemies that you're like, oh well, I got seen it, now it's all over.
I mean, I won't go that far. I still did that. I still did that. That still happened to me. I've got to be honest with you.
Okay.
If you think I was droning that, I wasn't. But just that gameplay loop of going in, still dying, still having to go in and rescue somebody. I still stand by our review, which is out now. Go check it out. My Xbox and Me YouTube channel. I didn't put it on the podcast feed this time. Maybe I should have. Would you have? Let us know in the emails.
We can do it on the podcast.
My Xbox. I mean, I think. Do you know what I think we probably should have done? Is we probably should have either put it up or we should have put it as topic of the show for that week. But Xbox bought Activision, so.
It changed the whole plans for that.
It changed everything. Everything kind of went to shit at that point, or not shit, I guess, to gold. Depends on which way you want to look at it. But yeah, I just really enjoy the gameplay loop of Rainbow Six Extraction. It's a lot of fun. I really like it, and I think it might be my game of the year this year.
Yeah, it's so.
I've only played one game this year.
But yeah,
I've only played one game this year.
Oh, I thought you were saying
is...
I think it's going to stay there, and I was going to be like,
I've only beat one game.
I think here's what I think we all need to do. At least me, and I know I'm being a lot more meticulous of it. Every game that I play, I'm putting it in my game of the year list.
Yeah.
So right now I have 3 games in my game of the year list, and I'm comparing them with.
That's what I'm doing.
And like slowly moving stuff out. Yeah, because I towards the end of last year, I just sort of went through all the games, and I'm sure I forgot about stuff and muddled up experiences I had with games.
So at the end of this year, you're going to have a list of however many games you've played ready to go. We should put them in the Discord for people. Like I'll do the same now. We'll make a list of every single game, rank every single game we're doing.
Moving stuff from my
no, that's what I'm saying.
I could do
Why?
game.
Because you're just inserting one.
We've played.
You're just inserting it. You're like,
that kind of ruins. If we do it in a Discord, it kind of ruins the end of the year podcast, don't it?
No, we'll post it in the Discord after that.
Yeah, Matt's saying after we have our conversation, it's here's every game we played. So if something doesn't make it on the list, it's because that person didn't play it. I think that's interesting. We could do that. I'm down to do that.
Because then we do have like lists of like 25
5
people
games at the end of the year.
That's true.
I've beat one game this year already, yeah? I've 100%ed Rainbow Six New York area.
Extraction.
I've done the New York area, yeah?
That's not beating that game.
That's not beating it.
And I'm well on my way of beating another area as well. I'll have to let you know.
Is that,
okay?
wait. That's half the game.
Not even half.
I didn't know you have to get 50% to beat it.
Not even half, mate. It's not even half. It's like 30% at the moment. But yeah, I will beat it. Definitely. Okay. Definitely. But yeah, that's all I played this week. Other than, you know what.
So we're allowed to say that, by the way.
What?
You're allowed to say that you're playing it.
What? Oh, am I?
Oh.
I don't know.
I don't know. Is it the thing that I've written in the doc?
Yeah.
Then yeah, I think we're allowed to say
I'm playing Dying Light 2.
As am I.
Kresh, what have you been playing?
I played Nobody Saves the World, which
Me
is
too.
on Game Pass. And
is that a new game? Does that come out this year?
Yeah, it's a new game. It came out this year. It's the one where you turn into different characters as you go around. You level up the characters. It's a fun and interesting loop. It's very old school Zelda-like. I feel I've seen a lot of those comparisons as well. You go into dungeons, and I think all the dungeons are randomized, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Or
there's a certain amount of procedural.
Yeah, there's some that are like there are some that are like super locked into what they are.
What's this
I
called?
think that's some of like the more specific challenging. Nobody Saves the World.
I've noticed something.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll say, what game is that? And instantly when the podcast has ended, I ain't got a clue what you talked about. I've got a notepad now.
You're going to write them down.
What is it? Nobody Saves the World 2, yeah?
Yeah.
You also
Nobody Saves the World. Not
have the show notes.
Yeah. You have they get erased.
Yeah, but I have to click a link. If I click a link, I'm not going to get there. So I have to have it in front of me. And you think it's worth me playing?
I don't think so. I think it's on Game Pass. I think it's worth trying. I was gonna get to my complaint about the game right now.
Crossed it out.
Which is it is so tedious to switch between different characters.
Oh.
That I don't think I think that ruins my enjoyment of the game.
I agree. And the combat in it is so chaotic that it makes switching characters on the fly really difficult, but it wants you to do that for very specific reasons.
Yeah.
And also, I had a real issue with there's no like feedback when you hit something or when you get hit. And so it's just really chaotic. And like, I'm confused. Am I even hitting these guys? I don't even really know.
I think the chaotic bit is on purpose.
I
And while
agree.
I understand like gripes with it, I do think it works for like the setting and the idea of the game.
That's what really turned me off to it. I was just like,
yeah, for me, it's just so like the best way to switch in the game is to pause the game.
yes,
Is to open up that menu,
Oh,
and
that's
that is
horrible.
stupid. Because if
there
you
is
bring
a
up the
hot wheel, but it's a fucking traction.
time doesn't stop or anything, and you only control the wheel, so you can't go into the wheel. Like what it should have been is you go into the wheel and you switch characters with the right, and you can still move with the left stick. That would have made so much sense. But you go into the wheel and you switched with the same stick that you move with, so you're just stuck in place. And it's like
everything's just
with how
attacking you.
chaotic it is, you're completely surrounded, and it's like, well, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just gonna pause the game, which gets you out of the momentum, and it just ruins its own loop for me.
The like setting and the world and the humor in it, I think is really good. It's very meta. Like there are Game Awards jokes in it and like all sorts of weird stuff. But
you should try it, Fix. You should try it.
I heard meta, so is that like the metaverse I'm in?
no, it's not.
Oh,
you should
no.
try it, Fix.
Okay.
You might enjoy it. You should try it.
I'll be honest, you haven't sold it well. You haven't. I've got to be honest with you. Hearing you guys, no, because that whole pause menu thing,
yeah,
that sounds awful. That sounds awful.
It's not the only way to switch characters. It is the best way to switch characters.
That's not
which is a problem.
That's not a compliment in any way, shape, or form. I've got to be honest.
It's not at all. I also played Windjammers 2.
That on Xbox?
Yep.
Oh, I
believe
one.
so. Yeah.
One was exclusive to PlayStation.
I played it on Game Pass on PC.
Oh, it doesn't.
No,
as long as
on Xbox. I played it on Xbox. I played it on Xbox. Yeah, I played it on Xbox, not on PC.
When I say on Xbox, I mean Game Pass PC
it's
as
on
well.
Game
when
Pass,
I say
yeah.
that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. It's fun. It's an enjoyable game. I could see like having fun playing with a friend and just messing about. I think it's more Windjammers if you enjoy Windjammers. If you enjoy those like 1v1 sportsy type of games, I think that there is enough here for you to play and enjoy your time with it. I didn't play versus anybody. They have like a little story mode thing. It was cool. It was fun. I don't see myself going back to it. But if somebody were to be like, "Hey, you want to play some Windjammers?" And mess around while we're waiting for a third or whatever.
Hey, dudes, radical. You want to play some Windjammers, man?
Yeah, let's go, bro.
Yo, let's do it gnarly, man.
Yeah. I also played Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel.
Dude, I can't do it.
The new
Kresh.
Yu-Gi-Oh! game.
I
forgot how fun Yu-Gi-Oh! is, bro. I forgot how fun it is. I've been playing this, and I get on every day. They have the daily rewards of you getting gems, so you can buy packs, and you get the pack openings, and that's just like sort of. Nope. It is for right now. It is very free to play friendly for right now. But in the long term, as they add more packs and metas change and all this stuff, the game, I don't see it staying free to play friendly. But they give you a large amount of gems to like make your own decks. You have a question, Matt?
I do. Can you play against AI or is it just online?
There's a solo mode. There's a solo mode, so you can play against AI. Yeah. Fix.
Go on, Fix.
Thank you. I put my hand up, sir. I behaved. I was so close, Kresh. I was so close.
I forgot.
It got so bad that I had Ant, and you know Ant, stream it via Discord so I could watch him play it, so I didn't download it and play myself. So right now it's games I've got to play for review or games I've got to play on the podcast and GTA, and I'm like. Yeah. That is my life. I did a really bad year last year, right? We all know I had a bad year of playing games that need to be played. So I've like dedicated certain times, like when I'm not working, doing streaming, I'm playing games. Like I'm like, Haley, no, we can't do this. I'm playing this video game for review. I must do this. And I'm not gonna lie, I saw Yu-Gi-Oh! I was like, oh. And I haven't bought cards in I stopped buying, like I refused to buy cards again because that was a whole nother obsession that I had a long time ago. And I was like, bro, I know full well I'd love this game. I know I'd love it, but I can't because it will take over my life.
It is enjoyable. I forgot how much I enjoyed like the concept of Yu-Gi-Oh so much, and I've been playing it. I've been playing the ranked mode, and I've gone against some people whose turns end up being like 5 minutes before I go, and I'm like, this is where the game starts like losing me because like I'm not that good that I can't like, because that's essentially what like high tier Yu-Gi-Oh ends up becoming. It becomes really long turns, and whoever ends up having the best cards and like does the most optimal thing ends up winning. And I get to the point where it's like I'll activate an effect I shouldn't have, and I'll just lose it based off my own mistake. And I'm like, oh, that feels pretty bad. But then I'm like, okay, I got the itch. I want to play another duel, and I want to not mess up.
I watched Ant play, and literally he had a guy. His go was about, like you said, about 5 minutes, but he was doing so much that he was waiting for a certain card to come out or something, and it didn't come out, so he just abandoned the match. He's like, I've lost. Just quit.
That happened to me. So I play a Blue Eyes White Dragon deck, and like my first turn, I summon all these monsters. He went first, so I summon all my monsters, and one of my things has an effect where I destroy it, like the monster on their field, and he draws a whole bunch of cards, and I think he's trying to like resummon the same thing because he had a pretty big turn, and he doesn't do it, and at the end of his turn, he just surrenders.
Quits.
I'm like, cool, free win, no problem. Yeah.
Mad, absolutely mad. But yeah, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, I heard it's really good, really good.
Yeah. For now, it's also free to play friendly. I want to point out that I don't think it'll be that way for the long term. I do think there'll be a point where, if you want to keep buying the newest decks, you'll have to put in money. But I don't know if the newer decks will sort of outshine older decks to the point where they're not playable. Yeah, so there's a possibility that you can keep your same few decks and slowly build up decks, and you'll still be able to play ranked and hang in there until like the higher elos or like gold or platinum or whatever. But I don't know, can't confirm that as of right now.
Matt P, what you been playing?
I played the first few hours of The Gunk.
Are you good?
Agree with Kresh's assessment, which is it's really very meh. It's fine.
That sucks.
Yeah, one thing that I was quite surprised about is that there's quite a lot of swearing in The Gunk, which I didn't expect. Just characters swearing at each other and stuff in like a light-hearted way, but I just didn't expect that from the sort of aesthetic and tone that they're going for. But hey, it's a thing that's on Game Pass. Go on, Kresh.
I feel like like the swearing fits the tone that I've gotten from the trailers and stuff like that. Not the aesthetic, because the aesthetic's very cartoon and Play-Doh-like, I guess.
Yes.
And
I didn't watch a single trailer. I had no idea what this game was going into it.
Got it. Because I always took it as more of like a darker game, so the swearing didn't come out of left field.
Fair enough.
I've played Image and Form. It's Image and Form, if I'm not mistaken, right? I'm pretty sure it's Image and Form. I've played a lot of their games before, so yeah, I kind of expected it, and not like a. They did a few games that I really enjoyed, so I'm pretty sure it's Image and Form, if I'm not mistaken. They're a Swedish company.
It's fine. Like I say, it's totally serviceable, but I don't think I'll play it anymore.
If this game would have came out, sorry to cut you. If this game would have came out in this like out of December, do you think it would have done better? Because I feel like it come out at like a really bad time. No, because it was on Game Pass day one, and just no.
It has a 70 on Metacritic. I don't think that its launch time really.
It's like good and fun. It's just not.
It's not something that'll make the big splash that'll be talked about like for a prolonged period of time.
No.
Okay.
No. I don't think there'll be a Gunk 2. Maybe there will be. There was a Knack 2, so I don't know.
That's a good
point.
This is an Xbox pasta.
Sorry.
Jesus, if you're going to shout him, at least get it right. Go on, carry on.
Xbox pasta, Matt.
I played and finished Unpacking, which is like...
What?
I know.
I remember when I mentioned this game, you were like, yeah, this sounds stupid. And then,
you know what? The entire time I was playing it, I was like, this is stupid. And my girlfriend was like, you're just wasting time right now. This is stupid. And I'm like, I know, but I can't put it down.
It's one of those ones.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed it.
I really like the subtle storytelling in that game.
It is very
good.
it's
very, very well done form of storytelling that isn't over in your face, and you can take it if you want to, pay attention to the storytelling, or you can just treat it as a puzzle game, right?
Yeah. And puzzle game is even generous.
It's a puzzle game. You could put stuff in the wrong place in the game, and I'll let you finish the level.
That is
It's for sure
true.
a puzzle game.
But I often found the reason that I couldn't figure out where to put a thing is because I didn't know what a thing was.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But that's
you
the
can
puzzle. You gotta figure out what it is.
Okay, sure. You can zoom in on the thing as much as you want. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I don't know.
What is it? There was the one level with the kitchen, and there was a kitchen, and there was something like I think it ended up being one of a kitchen towel or something, and I had no clue where to put it because originally I had it in the bathroom, and then I'm moving it to every room. It's like it won't let me finish, and then I move it to the kitchen, and it's in the wrong spot, and it's still not letting me in. I'm like, is this even supposed to be in here?
Yeah, mad. And then Moonglow Bay, me and the fiance have been playing, which is like a very, very simple Stardew Valley. Very similar sort of vibes, but much more simplified than Stardew Valley. And yeah, we've been really enjoying that. We've been playing it co-op. It's super not designed for co-op, and co-op actually kind of breaks the game and sucks.
Wow.
But it's fine. It's fine. And then I've been playing Dying Light 2, which I can't talk about. Apart from the fact that I can say I've been playing Dying Light 2.
What have you been playing?
Dying Light 2.
That's not allegedly.
Allegedly. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, let's jump. Is there any big news to cover this week? Like in terms of, we've missed. The problem is the podcast goes so good, the conversation's so good, the topic of the show, and then we get through our games and we get to the news, and news is so secondary, right? It really is.
Yeah.
So Microsoft has discontinued all Xbox One consoles. I mean, this was pretty obvious. It's happened a little while ago, to be honest with you. Smart move from Xbox in terms of them focusing on the new generation, to be honest with you.
100%.
Well, especially when they see... and the cloud, you're right. But especially when you see Sony still producing PS4s, you're like, well, we've got a console out there that's either the same price or a little bit cheaper than a brand new PS4 that has all these next-gen games and Game Pass. It's really smart from Xbox.
It's also Xbox banking on the fact that they did release that second console, right? Where Sony only has the PS5. Like you have the discless version, but it's still not really the same thing. So they need to kind of keep the PS4 in there as well for people who might not be able to afford it. Whereas with Xbox, it's like we have the Series S. We don't need to keep doing that.
Yeah. Next story is from Eurogamer, from Tom Phillips, who says Xbox Series X/S is Microsoft's fastest selling Xbox console generation despite supply constraints. I mean, this is pretty self-obvious. I think if you just look at the conversation that's been had out there, to be honest with you, if you talk to anybody, even still, I get messages from people like, can you get your hands on a... It's usually a PS5, but sometimes I get the odd, can you get your hands on Series X? And I'm like, no, I don't know Phill Spencer personally. He's not just going to hand me one for you. But yeah, this was... Unlocked. Yeah.
Just mention it.
Next time I'm unlocked, I bet, Phil, can I just get an Xbox Series X for like every one of my family members, please? Thank you. But yeah, this was in an interview with Phill Spencer, and he had this to say, quote, at this point, sold more of this generation of Xboxes, which is Xbox Series X and S, than we have any previous version of Xboxes. He goes on to say this as well. Quote, when you think about trying to get an Xbox or a new PlayStation right now in the market, they are really hard to find. And it's not because supply is smaller than ever been. Supply is actually as big as it's ever been. It is demand that is exceeding the supplies for us. Which I think is really interesting. I think, in a weird way, I know this is going to sound really strange. Like, obviously, I feel like COVID was like the best thing to ever happen to gaming, wasn't it? In a weird, horrible way.
It put gaming more in the mainstream because, like, gaming's been going into the mainstream for a while now. You can argue that, like, Call of Duty and stuff like that's been mainstream. Fortnite for a while was mainstream, but ever since like the whole thing happened with Switch and Animal Crossing, I feel like gaming's been in the mainstream in a different way, and like it just continues to do that, especially as people are still stuck indoors, and I think it'll continue to do that even after people are allowed to go back to their normal lives.
I feel like, I don't know what it's like in other places. London, I'll speak for London. I feel like we've definitely gone back to just life is pretty normal again here in London, especially. I don't know about other parts of England, but masks have dramatically Boris has got rid of them, so no one really cares anymore. But I think in conversations I've had with people is people have just had that knock-on effect now where they've been at home for such a long time that they're just like, I don't want to go out. I really enjoy my own company, my own time, playing video games, listening to music. And I feel like from a entertainment point of view for Xbox, we'll say, and PlayStation and Nintendo, but for Xbox especially, it's been like, oh yeah, we just want more games. And people are just like, let's play games. And like, I feel like, you know that buddy of yours once upon a time who just refused to get a headset for the longest time? I feel like even he's the guy that's like, yeah, I've got a hair of A40s or A50s. It's like, even he's like, what, a £300 headset? Oh yeah, go on then.
Yeah.
Like once upon a time, you said that to somebody, they would slap you up in the face. I remember it clearly saying to my mate Mickey, like, yeah, you should buy back in the day it was Turtle Beaches. Like, yeah, you should buy a pair of Turtle Beaches. They're £100, and being like, are you absolutely crazy? You've got no chance. I'm gonna keep talking to you with this Xbox 360 headset that plugs into my controller. Like, you've got no chance. Now, I feel like everyone's just sort of like, yeah, I've got whatever it may be in terms of the headset manufacturer. I've got one. You know? Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. It's become less there's been less of a stigma with it as well, right? And people have found out like we don't need to spend money going and buying, because like realistically people would spend in one weekend the same amount of money to get drinks than they would for that headset. And it's like the headset's giving me way more value than those drinks did for one weekend. So I just have to not go out for this weekend and I can afford something that I can do on the regular, even if money's low, right?
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Matt, you've probably from what I understand, you probably have the most casual friendship group when it comes to gaming. What's it like with them? Like, I assume they've got like normal jobs in terms of like what they do. They don't work in the industry, some of them. Like, what's that like, playing with non-industry people?
Well, so this last generation, we were all on PS4. And I was not the one who pushed the move to Xbox, which I found interesting.
Oh.
Like, it was Game Pass that locked them into Xbox. One bought an S, the other two that I play with regularly bought Series X's. And they probably game more now than they ever have. And are now way more up on the industry than they've ever been.
Do they listen to my Xbox and me?
I don't think they do.
Have you even mentioned it to them that you're doing a weekly Xbox podcast?
Yeah, they know that.
You should make them listen to it. Have they rated us on
I don't think,
iTunes?
to be fair, I say they're more in the industry than ever before, right? But I don't think they listen to podcasts.
Okay.
They're those people, you know? They're those people.
Got ya.
This is the perfect time for that to change.
I mean, come on, Matt. Make it happen.
The games that we play most are Halo, absolutely. Still playing a lot of Deep Rock Galactic as well, which is fucking brilliant, and they keep releasing new stuff for it. And I swear that we are the only people keeping that game alive, but we absolutely are. And I'm okay with it.
Absolutely are.
And they're just what they've also done, which is interesting. Maybe they will listen to this episode now they know that I've talked about them so long. Is really, really gamed the Microsoft Bing points system.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, they all have the Halo Battle Pass, for example, courtesy of Mr. Bill Gates, because they just do quizzes every day on Bing and like make a shitload of points through.
Okay.
You know, they got it on the phone and they got it on the Xbox and they got it on the web browser, and that's working for them. And so being able to game the system in that way, I think, has really helped as well.
Interesting. Kresh, what's the time code for this? So Matt can pass it on to whoever this is.
Oh, I'll make them listen to the whole thing. Don't worry about it.
No, they ain't making it through. They're not making it through an hour-and-a-half podcast to get to this point. I can promise you that.
They're not getting their potato squad.
They're not getting their potato squad badge. Oh, EGX, I should get potato squad badges. And if you come up to me and say potato, you get a badge.
Mate,
I should do that.
I'll have one.
I should.
When is EGX?
Oh, I don't know. I've already booked my tickets.
Am I
for
going?
Birmingham. You coming to Birmingham?
When is it?
I booked my hotel and tickets already. Well, I booked my hotel. I haven't applied for a press pass yet, but I'll get one. That should be all right. I don't know. Oh, maybe. First week in March.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah, next story. The new studio by Yakuza creator, I'm going to butcher the name, but I'm going to go for it. Toshihiro? That doesn't sound right. Toshihiro. I'm so bad. I'm so bad at it. It upsets me how bad I am. Under NetEase is officially called Nagoshi Studio. Nagoshi?
Nagoshi? I think
Yeah?
Nagoshi is a good shout.
Are we going with that? What was you going to say, Kresh? I felt like he was going to go with something else.
I was gonna say Nagoshi as well.
Okay, Nagoshi Studios.
Nagoshi.
Nagoshi will obviously serve as CEO. Wait, what?
His name
That's
is
his last name as well.
Toshihiro
Toshihiro
Nagoshi.
Wait, my man is a bad man on these streets. He called his studio after his last name.
Yeah.
That's baller.
He saw Kojima and was just like, yeah,
He was
I'm
like, yo, I could do that. I'm just as big as Kojima.
yeah, we're the same.
I mean, yeah, so, Kadoshi will serve as CEO. The other 8 founding members were all part of Sega/RGG Studio before. Nagoshi explained that he chose to leave Sega because he didn't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. Very focused on quality and making it appealing to core fans and the broader gaming audience. They want to announce their game soon. Game will have a large scale. Nagoshi's interested in doing things that they couldn't do before.
How long
till? Go on.
How long until Microsoft announced they bought them?
Honestly, if their first 3 games are like, look, this is the same team that did. These are like the founding members that did Yakuza Like a Dragon, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And Yakuza Like a Dragon is a phenomenal game. Like, do you know what? It's one of those games that I think one day I will go back, restart. You know, when I'm not doing this for a living and I'm not streaming 7 days a week, it's one of those games that I'll go back and be like, you are a top video game, you know? Just one of those games that, like, I wish I had the 500 hours I need to put into this to experience it all, because I loved it with all my goddamn heart. I really did. And I think if this studio, Nagoshi Studio, end up putting out like 3 games in the next, I don't know, 6 years, there's 2 to 3 games in the next 6 years, let's say, yeah? And they are 9s, 10s, I think someone picks them up straight away. And I think it will be Xbox, because there is such a hole. We've spoken about it before. It's about filling the holes in the market that they don't have. Japanese studio, I believe Japanese, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's something they don't have enough of. And original IP and things that are different and not the same thing over and over again. All of the things they're saying are things that Xbox need out of a Japanese studio. Right? Like,
100%.
Yeah. I think the big thing though is it is a Japanese studio, and I guess this would be like the fact that it's a smaller studio. This would be the studio to like
it would work.
Get the ball rolling for that.
Well,
yeah.
I think the first thing you see is a partnership. I wouldn't be surprised if we see if whatever their second game is. I don't think it'll be the first one, but whatever the second game is, if the first one's quality is like top quality, the second game that comes out in Game Pass Day 1 or something. Again, they're a small studio. I'm sure they got a lot of people that would follow them from at Sega, but they're a still small studio currently, and they're gonna need money. You're gonna need money, but is it NetEase that own them currently? Is that okay? It's under NetEase, so and I'm not fully.
I'm not too sure.
Fully aware of NetEase. Let me see this. NetEase is a Chinese internet technology company providing online services centered on content communication and commercial. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a $59 billion revenue company.
Xbox never buying these. Xbox never buying this. It's never happened. And I don't know. Are they owned by or are they partnered with?
If it's under, it sounds like they're owned by. But
yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
all
they
that
could still just buy them out. Not NetEase.
They could just buy them. But it would be the question of would NetEase want?
Why would NetEase open up a studio to then just sell it? Makes no sense.
To make money. To add to that 59 billion.
Yeah, but they make a lot of mobile games. I'm seeing it here. They've got the Marvel, Marvel Super War. That mobile game, the MOBA one. That's NetEase. You've got Afterlife, the survival one. You've got a few of those.
These mobile companies, I feel like get underrated very much. So they make so much money.
I ain't got a clue who they are, but I know they're making ridiculous money, stupid money. I'm just like, but who's playing it? But everyone.
People are
Just not me. Just not me. Stalker 2 delayed till December. I feel like we spoke about this. Maybe we didn't. It's delayed to December 8th, 2022. Yeah, it is a sad one, but I'll be honest with you, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, me too. Make a good game. The problem is, December will again probably be stacked and difficult.
Dude, I feel like that's just gaming now.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, I felt like I could play everything, and even if it wasn't for me, I could even still finish it. Now, no chance. Absolutely
gone.
No chance.
Gotta move into the next thing.
And we'll end the news stories this week here because I don't think anything else is that crazy to cover. But Respawn Entertainment is working on 3 new Star Wars titles. This come out like yesterday, wasn't it? The news, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Quote: Game director Stig Asmussen. Might have got that wrong. And his team at the studio are already working on the next game in the action-adventure Star Wars Jedi series, and are joined by 2 new teams working to deliver additional unique Star Wars gameplay experiences across multiple genres. Leading the development of Respawn's all-new Star Wars first-person shooter game is Peter Hirschman. I think I got that right.
Hirschman, yeah.
Hirschman? Oh, what did I say? Hirschik. Yeah, you're right.
You added
Hirschman.
an ick, but you're fine.
Yeah, I don't know why. Game director at Respawn, who has a long and accomplished history with Star Wars franchise. The third title is a Star Wars strategy game developed through a production collaboration with the newly founded studio Reactor. Yep, I got there afterwards, don't worry. Helmed by games industry veterans Greg Forrest. Man, do you know what?
It's been a hard week.
Thank you. It's not just me being dyslexic. It's been a hard week for names, I've got to say. You couldn't give me a Peter Dinklage, even though I would have got that. Actually, if I read that, I probably would have got that wrong as well, if I'm being totally honest with you. First thing that comes to my head, sorry. Respawn will produce the new Star Wars strategy game, while Bit Reactor leads on the development of the title.
Something else to point out, to tag on the end of that, is that Bit Reactor, brand new studio, a load of Firaxis and XCOM devs.
Oh, okay. That is good to know.
That game could be really good.
I gotcha.
Am I not a little bit disappointed that we didn't see this at EA Play, though? I know they're a long way out.
Yeah.
I know they're a long way out.
Like,
but yes.
No, because we always talk about it like there's these big reveals, and then we kind of like complain about it like, yeah, it was a big reveal and it was cool, but there was no gameplay or anything, and we always get down on it. And
but that's still gonna happen.
They do stuff like this, and it's like, we want a big reveal. Why wasn't there a trailer attached to it? Why wasn't all this other stuff? Here they gave us information, and it's like, well, we wanted, and then we get the trailers, more information. We get just information. We want more trailers. Do they have to do both at the same time? And
then we moan that we've seen it too much. Oh god, you can't please us.
Yeah,
we're horrible. Yeah, but you know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like the wins just. Look, I'm not the biggest Star Wars guy, so really, to me, who gives a crap? But I did play Star Wars Fallen Order, and I beat it, and I did enjoy it. Yeah. I did enjoy it. I did beat it. It was a very good game. It wasn't Game of the Year the way people were going on about it, but it was a good game. Like, it was definitely worth.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
You don't think so, Kresh?
My experience with that game was very buggy.
Oh, mine too.
Oh, mine wasn't.
I persisted through.
You like Star Wars though?
Yeah,
he does.
I'm glad we got someone. So, how are you feeling about this? 3 new games.
Stoked. Yes, please. Like, yeah, you've got the pedigree of people that you've got there, right? Like you say, Jedi Fallen Order, I think, was a beloved game. Yes. I think that's fair.
No, 100%. 100%.
People will be excited for the sequel. I am excited for the sequel.
Me too.
Respawn making a first-person shooter. Yeah, no duh. Yes, give me Apex Legends with Star Wars.
I will be very interested in this game.
I'm not interested.
I'm down if it is not a Battlefront game.
I hope it's not.
It's not a Battlefront. It's not Battlefront. It's not Battlefront. Garrett, okay. I put a pizza on it.
I'm not betting a pizza because
Damn it.
I have no opinion on it. I'm not going into that bet. I just don't want it to be a Battlefront game because I am interested. I played my first time playing Titanfall 2 was last year, so like to see them do another game, I'm very very into it.
That is what we want.
What they do with it. Very interested.
First person Boba Fett, or you know, bounty hunter with
some movement and stuff. Yeah, I'm with you, Matt. I'm with you.
Come on,
that does nothing for me at all.
I'm thinking. You see, the problem is you're thinking of it from a Star Wars lens. I'm thinking of it through a Respawn game lens.
Yeah,
and they do
you think of it Titanfall.
That's what upsets me though. Is the fact that Respawn's on bloody Star Wars.
They were never going to do another, like as much as people wanted. They're not doing a Titanfall 3 anytime.
I couldn't give a crap about Titanfall, like either. Like I just want like something new. Like obviously this is going to be something new, but like. Just package it in Star Wars. I'm just like, I know I'm the outlier in this. I understand that like other people are gonna be like, yeah, but me, I really like Respawn games. Yeah.
If we're gonna be fair, most of the Star Wars fans are probably gonna hate this game because of something it does with the story, and they're gonna be like, wow, this breaks my lore and my immersion on what I expect from Star Wars.
We are getting so much Star Wars content at the moment. Like it's getting to Marvel levels of nonsense and tomfoolery. But the difference is that Marvel is quite good at like saying like, oh no, the games aren't the MCU.
Yeah.
But Star Wars just goes, no, it's all real.
All canon.
It's all except for the books that you spent a lot of money on and read. Fuck you, they're not. But everything else is real.
Well, didn't they remove everything that was before in canon? They were like, that's all out of it. Everything you guys
they did a big
loved
reset,
and then the canon. They're like, that's all out, and we're gonna start putting our own stuff in it.
But then they even bailed on that and have now brought
really?
back a character from the books that people loved and like cried that they got rid of, and now they've brought him back, General Thorne. And so Thor? Something like that.
Fake fan.
Fake fan.
Thorne? I don't know.
Boo,
dyslexic. I read his name once.
Get
like,
off the stage! Take away his microphone. He doesn't know he's Star Wars. Get out of here.
But the game that I'm most looking forward to is fucking XCOM Star Wars. Put it in my veins.
That
right,
could be very, very cool. I think that could be really, really interesting, and it could really work in a Star Wars setting. I think just the way that world is set up, just thinking of that in an XCOM, like works so well.
Give me
maybe even more than Gears Tactics work.
Strategy, space battles, and ground battles. Oh.
No, I'm not saying I'm not talking about my gripes with Gears Tactics. I'm talking about the concept for this game.
Like I thought
my gripes for Gears Tactics are valid, by the way. I don't know why you're giving me that face.
I never said they wasn't.
Like you were throwing away my
I enjoy Gears Tactics way more than you did. Way more. Hi.
I was my camera was messing up.
I thought Matt wanted to say something.
Matt was high-fiving me through the screen. I'm like, I know we're ending soon, Matt. I'm sorry. We're moving.
My two favorite franchises of all time are getting XCOM games. I'm okay with that.
I've got a bad feeling about the Marvel one. The Marvel one's going to be bad.
Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns going to be bad.
I think it's going to be good.
I worry more so for the Marvel one. But
I think
my question
the car system's going to be what it is.
Real question. Yeah. Are we going to see Jar Jar Binks in any of these Star Wars games?
No.
Then what's the point?
You will absolutely get him in Lego Skywalker Saga the Spectre.
Yeah,
do you think we will?
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
but let me tell you right now, I promise you, I'm playing that game, and once I get Jar Jar, that's all I'm playing with. I'm not even, to move past any of the levels, I'm not even going to switch character.
I was going to say, I'll have to play
I'm going to make
Haley.
I'm going to make Haley play the other characters and be like,
what happens when you need two like Jedi Force users and they won't let you continue otherwise?
You better make Jar Jar Jedi then, better you? Because we ain't changing, baby. We ain't changing.
Pretty funny if they're like, yeah, Jar
Jar has everything.
Jedi powers.
He has everything. He can do it all.
Every fan theory around Jar Jar is accurate in this game.
we should do a Let's Play that just pisses off the Star Wars community, and one of us plays as like Watto and the other one Jar Jar. And we're like, this game's trash. We can't progress.
The guy from episode 1.
That would be such a good TikTok.
Yeah, Watto is the. Yeah, I would be actually surprised if they put Watto in, just because. Well, I mean, people say that Jar Jar's racist as well.
It's Lego. Lego do it all, man. It's weird how like I'm not a Star Wars fan, as you all know, and I generally do like Jar Jar. I know people find that hard to believe, but I'm actually excited about the games because it's a way for me to experience these stories in a more digestible way than I can in the films, because I just can't in the films. Like,
it looks great as well. Like, they've really made changes to that formula that get me excited about it as well.
Do you think we just don't do it for me?
No? Did you ever play them co-op?
No, I've not played them co-op. That could
they are a much better experience co-op, just because you're having a little bit more. There's more banter, you know. Because those games single player are a bit dry for me, if I'm being totally honest with you. First game I ever bought on my Xbox, a Lego game.
Really?
Would you believe it? Xbox
I think
One.
it was mine as well. The Lego Marvel game. It was
Marvel
like $10
Heroes
on sale or something like that. Yeah.
That and Peggle.
I didn't buy Peggle.
Peggle 2. Those were the games. Imagine I spent like £500 on a console with a Kinect, and I played Peggle for like most of that time. Wild.
Could have been playing
Guys,
for Instinct.
I know. Let's plug and get ourselves out of there. Matt, what you got to plug this week, my guy?
Nothing. I couldn't even think of anything.
What's going on at work?
Keep being
Anything
awesome.
you can plug? Anything you can plug at work?
Nah.
Nah?
Well, I mean, if you're into your tech, go to techradar.com. Look at some videos on the YouTube channel.
What's coming out? What's the newest tech?
Not a lot that I can talk about.
Fair.
Ask me the same question next week.
Will do. Kresh, what you got to plug?
If you go on Spotify and you look up MC Fixer, 9 to 5, hottest new song out right now.
Yes. Oh, you're absolutely right, Kresh. You're absolutely right.
I'm just saying, guys, if you've made it this far in the podcast, you owe me a listen. I've given you 340 weeks of my life, and it is so much better than you're giving me credit for. Even listening to this right now, not you, not you. I'm saying, listener right now who is listening, you are going to go, no way. I promise you, you're going to listen to it and you're going to go, there is no way this is him. Go on, Kresh.
I'm not going to say anything.
Go on.
It's catchy.
I think you might be setting the bar a little bit.
No,
too
I
high.
disagree, because I think because I think when you hear someone you've been listening to for years at this point.
I agree with the sentiment, but I think you're selling it a little bit too much.
No, I think you're a music guy. So
That's true. That is
you're
very true.
into music. If you're somebody who is not into music like that, even if you're someone who's like, I'm not into hip hop or rap, still listen to it. Because 99% of all that I go, oh, it's a rap song, they go, oh, I'm not listening to that. And I'm like, no, just trust me, listen to it. And you'll get what I'm trying to say. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon, Alexa. If you ask Alexa or Google Home or any of those things to play MC Fixer, there I'll be.
That'll be the thing.
There I'll be.
There he'll be.
You think you could ask Alexa to play Mick Fixer? I know it would work.
I will slap you up.
Somebody make a video, please.
Let's see what we can say to Alexa to make her play MC Fix. I wonder if you even get away with a little, maybe mumbled little Fix, little.
Oh my god!
I wonder what you could get away with. What could you get away with? Is there plans for more GTA roleplay music?
Oh yeah,
do you like go deep into the GTA roleplay? Because this is the
next song is called Head Pop.
Essentially about you.
The next song is called Head Pop.
Okay.
And so we're getting too far in. We're too.
No, I like beef and start dissing people.
Like we always say, this is the Potato Squad. Now they care about this sort of shit. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. So
and today, to be fair, this was an off the rails episode. Okay, if you made it through, you're officially Potato Squad.
I mean, yeah. So head pops is a term when someone pops out of the server. That's what's called a head pop. So if you're like driving in a car and you're in the passenger seat and you just disappear, someone will go, oh, he head popped. It'll be back in a sec. So you load back in the server, you're back. So in the server, they was having a lot of issues and people just head popping like crazy. And I was like, oh, I'm going to make a song about head popping. Everyone's like, yeah. So now me and Yellow Bear, shout out Yellow Bear, who does my productions, have made the song Head Pop. So we've got it all written and that. And,
Oh, you've done it, have you?
It's all yeah, I've been performing it in the city for a while. I was meant to go studio. It wanted me to come studio today. I was like, I can't do my Xbox and me. Like, there's no way. So I've got to get in studio this week, hopefully, to record Head Pop. And then, this song 9 to 5 is literally about streaming and about my life. And yeah, it's like, it's 2 minutes long. You can give me 2 minutes. Cool. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share. Make sure you drop a comment. And keep it amazing. This podcast is so fun to do. And we appreciate every single one of you. Until next time, we will love you, leave you. See you later. Good boys.
Love you, bye.